Howdy howdy folks, this is Mike with Play More Games, and coming to take a look and see what's on my table this, I don't want to say week, since it's been more than a week since my last video. Just have not had the opportunity to record. So last time we took a quick look at For the People and Panzer's Last Stands. This week we have more MMP goodness and more Mark Herman content. We've got OCS Korea, The Forgotten War, and later we'll take a quick look at Pericles. So this is OCS Korea. I'm sure many of you are probably much more familiar with it than I am. OCS is kind of like BCS to me, in that it's a series that I've tried really hard to get into, and for one reason or another it just isn't taking in my brain, and that's too bad, because I really want it to. I really want to enjoy it. So for BCS, all I own at this point is Panzer's Last Stand. And I played half a turn of Baptism by Fire 3 years ago. Something like that. Maybe even longer. So really novice. And OCS, on the other hand, I have the game you see before you, Korea. I have Hungarian Rhapsody. I have the Third Winter. Maybe you saw the unboxing video for that. I have the Blitzkrieg Legend, which are all of those are towards the deep end in terms of, I would say, one table footprint. I think Third Winter is 4 maps. I think Hungarian Rhapsody is 2. I think Blitzkrieg Legend is 4. But they have counter sheets and counter sheets and counter sheets worth of units. I have Tunisia 2, which is a 2-mapper with lots of 1-map scenarios, but there's a lot going on. You're flying planes back and forth, transporting units. It's a very dynamic situation. Korea is interesting. I also have Smolensk. So, for those of you that are counting along, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles of a game series I don't even know that I like. I want to like, because there's a lot of good gaming. I think there's a lot of value in those products. You buy a copy of any, and really this is true of any multi-man publishing game. You get tons of scenarios, you get lots of replayability, you get a quality product. I don't think I've played, and this includes OCS, BCS, I don't think I've played a game where I was just like, this is a bad design. There have been times where I walk away saying, this may not be for me, which is completely different. But it's all quality, and especially with a dynamic product range such as OCS, there's a lot of stuff to enjoy, and I really want to. So let's take a little closer look. I'm going to move you over. Alright, so I'm going to move you over to the Busan perimeter. Now we're going to kind of zoom in and see what's been going on. So this is a half impulse. And basically, the Korean armies, they banged their heads against the river lines. Weren't able to clear this unit. We tried. More down here to the south. We tried to barrage this unit. We failed. We tried to cross the river. We failed. Down here some more. Again, we were able to barrage this unit. We got a very nice roll with our artillery. but we weren't able to dislodge it. In fact, it pushed us back. Up here in the north, we were able to eliminate one breakdown regiment. I think mostly due to the fact that we were able to get a nice 4-to-1 attack, but we didn't even get surprised there. This unit wasn't able to be dislodged. It's in close terrain, so there's a big, I think it's 8 or 12 here, was bounced off. No surprise. So the relatively low action ratings of the North Korean units have prevented any meaningful breakthroughs. So we spent a ton of supply. Those artillery barrages are probably more expensive than they're worth, especially in close terrain, or at least expensive enough where I can't afford to barrage everyone that I can, or everyone that's in range to, I should say. So I only get 4 supply a turn, and if I fire my if I fire all my artillery on the board, I have 3, 4. That's 12 tokens, or 3 out of the 4 supply. So that's not even considering combat supply as part of the equation. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because there is just a huge German Shepherd outside, and I'm trying to see. Okay, I think I see it. Alright. I was just concerned because I didn't see anyone with the dogs. I was worried that they had slipped the leash, but I do see someone out there now. I will also tell you that they did not clean up after their dog's mess. So, one benefit, I will say, of banging our heads against the Americans and South Korean lines is that they expended a ton of supply as well. And now that we got the double turn, we will get our supply stocks back before they do. So, I'm looking at the map. They have 3, 4, 5 points total of supply. And that's got to, I would say of that 5, only, well, they could probably spend all of it in one place or another. But that's going to put a dent on their ability to maneuver. Alright. So that half turn with the North Koreans took me maybe 90 minutes because I was going back and forth into the rule book. So, and I went through all the hard work of setting this up, so I'm not ready to write it off just yet. But I might not finish this scenario. I don't know. It's just not capturing my imagination. Because I did attacks across the line and killed one unit, DG'd one other. That was it. So we made no progress. So I guess, it's partly dice, but I think it's also partly I need to think about this in maybe a different way. Like maybe instead of attacking this unit, if I just maneuver my units and put it in a position where it might be out of supply and forced to, do a breakout or a trit. Maybe that's the better move. Maybe I need a better strategy. I don't know. It's kind of why I like to learn games by playing multiplayer. So, all right. So I'm gonna move you again and this time we're going to go over to Pericles. Alright, over here we see the game turn 1 setup for Pericles, and I played the first training scenario earlier, and I figured I would replay that for you now. Now the first training scenario just has to do with the political segment, the political phase. It has nothing to do with the theater phase. So why did I set this up? Well, because it looks cool. That's why. And I also wanted to have some idea, you know, when selecting issues or placing issues, just what we're fighting for. In any case, the training scenario 1, basically, what it comes down to is the Athenian faction. You have the aristocrats and the demagogues, and whoever wins the ostracism issue and has the most honor wins. Well, for oration, if you win the ostracism issue, you get 3 honor and your compatriot loses 3 honor. So there's really so I mean, based on how I understand it, oratory honor is tied to winning the ostracism issue. So really, the only condition to win is to win the ostracism issue. So I added my own caveat, because otherwise both factions would just play all of their cards available against the ostracism issue. So I added my own caveat, which is that you have to win the ostracism issue and win the most issues. So let's zoom in. We'll see how well this works. I've got the camera on the other side of the table as if it were sitting across from me. So I'm going to take great care to remember to show you the cards right side up, as it were. Alright, so the Strategos tokens don't really matter, but I'm going to set them out because we're going to draw from them anyway. So the Strategos tokens are right here. There's 5 of them. They get loaded up at the start of every phase. So the first thing we do is we have our Aristophanes deck, and by default we are looking at frog. Ooh, got a frog in my throat. Frogs C. Okay, so we can skip the Sparta section and we can skip what's going on at the bottom here. I did put Alcibiades in Persia. I don't know if you saw him earlier. Doesn't matter, but that's where he's hanging out. So the part that's relevant to us is we place the ostracism issue on the 1 space of the faction with the least honor. So based on the scenario 1 setup, all players start with 10 honor. So since it's a draw, I am going to put it on the side, the opposition side, because that's the instruction on the card. Here I am trying to invent a rule and it's already taken care of. So I'm going to take the ostracism token, and the aristocrats are the controlling faction, so we'll put that there. Alright. So now what we do, and if the rule book is written in sequence of play order, so you can just go straight to it. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to deal political cards. Okay, so I have already given everyone the cards, so here is the aristocrat hand. Alright. And their faction leader, who will come in handy. And here we have the demagogue's hand, including their faction leader. Alright, I have to take a short break here, but I will be back in a flash. Well, actually, there's going to be an edit, so you won't even notice, but I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back at it, and boy, I couldn't tell you exactly where we left off. I think I showed the hands. So after we deal the hands, we put issues up for debate. So I've looked at the hands. First we have to make our brain trust. So since we don't have a brain trust right now, and we have 9 cards, we can form a brain trust. So basically, the way that this works is that it's kind of like a reserve. And you can use your reserve when the other player plays their leader card. So there's a bit of strategy in determining what you put in versus what you keep out, because you only get the number value of the card in the top left. So do you put your worst cards in there? Do you put some high value cards in there? It's part of the strategy. So, alright, I have the brain trusts formed. So, I'm taking care of all that off camera here. Alright, so the first thing we do is the demagogues, or excuse me, the aristocrats are going to select an issue and place it on the 2 space of their track. So what we are going to do is, and I haven't played this enough to tell whether I have a good hand or a bad hand, so we're going to put something like Oracle on the 2 space. So now the demagogues get to put one on the 1 space, and what they're going to do is they are going to do, just looking through the cards. Alright, so we're going to put a Diplo issue out. So now the aristocrats get to pick 3, and they're going to take 2 military and a games, and demagogues are going to take a military and a league. Alright. So now, what these issues do don't matter so much because we're not actually going to resolve them this step. So, alright, so first, the aristocrats will select an issue for debate, and the first thing they're going to do is they're going to play Atlantis 9 on one of these military, well, they're going to select this card, they're going to put up a military issue, and they're going to play Atlantis 9. Now obviously as the demagogues, I don't know what they're playing. So looking at my hand, I only have 1 card, that has a military bonus, so it makes sense to play it. Pericles 8. Alright. So you can see that since they're both played on the military issue, they both earn their respective bonuses. So they both have a value of 5, meaning this is a dead issue. It goes nowhere. But they each both get 2 Strategos tokens, which I will set them in the play area so you can see. So even though they won't end up using it, I think it's still good to see that they have them. Alright, so now as the demagogues, we have the ostracism issue. We don't want to put it up for debate to give the aristocrats the chance to move it to their side. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick a league issue. And with a league issue, we have a couple of league cards, so we'll select one. And looking at the aristocrats, we have one as well. So I think it's natural to probably play to your leader strengths. And again, the only considerations in this scenario for us are winning the issues. Not necessarily what issues we want to win. And even I don't know that yet, because I don't know how that translates to the theater map. Right? So we're just looking at winning issues. Okay? And in the main game, when I find, 3 friends to play this with, the Spartans, the Aegiads and the Europontids will be doing the exact same thing on their side. Alright? Alright, so we have 2 cards, and I was holding them in my hands, and I think I might have swapped them around. Oh yeah, so we're playing a league issue. Alright, so the demagogues have a 2 card with a +3, 1 Strategos token, and the aristocrats have a 4 with a +2 for 6 with 2 Strategos tokens. So there's only 1 Strategos token left, so as the controlling faction, the aristocrats will get it. And they have a net value of 1, so the league issue slips 1 direction to the aristocrats. So, obviously not what the demagogues want to see. Because now we're looking at a draw. Okay? So now, the aristocrats, they want to make a move on the ostracism issue. So they nominate ostracism for debate, and they select their card. And the demagogues select their card as well. So now, here goes. The demagogues have played their faction leader card for the +2 on the ostracism issue, which gives this card value of 7. The aristocrats start with a value of 4, but because they are the controlling faction, they can add the +2 value for 6. So which means this does drift 1 in the direction of the demagogues. However, since the demagogues have played their faction leader card, the aristocrats have the opportunity to play one of their brain trust. And then the question becomes, well, what do we put in the brain trust? Do we put high value cards? Do we put low value cards in there? So this is the aristocrat brain trust. They put low value cards in there. But if we select the 2, we add our 2 to a 6, now we have an 8. Which means this drifts to the center. So now the ostracism issue is in the center. So I'll flip the faction leader card down so I know that we can't play it again. I'll set the what do you call it? The entourage face down, the brain trust face down, and take our cards back. And if there's any sort of uncertainty here, it's because I've made a big mess of what cards go where. Right. Okay. So now, first we bid, let's see. So we have 3 rounds left. Okay. 3 rounds left. All right. So now the demagogues, they want to get the ostracism issue back. They also need to weaken their position. They, meaning the aristocrats, hold on an issue. So they are going to nominate the Diplo issue that they put in. They have selected their card. And the aristocrats have selected their card. So this works out to be 2 to the aristocrats, 5 to the demagogues, for a net of 3. Okay, so I got confused. We already have the Diplo issue out. So we'll just play it through. Alright. So 2 rounds left. And that was a real blunder for the demagogues, but there is a rule in this book that basically it says, once it's happened, it's happened. You know, these are the historical errors, you know, that you're what's the word? These are the errors that your historical analogs made. So you can't, you know, sit there and min-max everything, you know, until it all goes in your favor, right? This is politics. This is war. You know, so there are mistakes to be made all over the place. All right, so now we're going to, as the aristocrat, nominate the ostracism issue. All right, and we've selected our card. And the demagogues have selected their card as well. This is both 5, so it stays in the center. Alright, so now we have one last card to be played. And the demagogues have lost. Because even if they win, say, the ostracism issue, and the cards in their hand make it a chancy proposition, they don't have a particularly strong card, right? So they have a 4 and a 2. And you have to be wondering what the Athenians have left. And they still have their faction leader card that they could play as well. And I'll just show you what the Athenians have. So they have a 5. So There's no way for the demagogues to win, but you still have to play the phase out. So what we will do is we will nominate the league issue, and we'll select our card, and the Athenians have selected their card, or the aristocrats have selected their card. So this shifts one. No. All right. So, based on the rules that I set up, this is a draw. The aristocrats won more issues, but they did not win the ostracism issue. So if this were a real game, and not the training scenario, basically what we would do is we would now determine our controlling faction. So we would determine if the favor of the assembly was won. So the people that won the most issues, if the ostracism issue is not won, wins the favor of the assembly. And the favor of the assembly, I want to say, is one of those blue or red pawns. So the aristocrats had the favor of the assembly, and he gains 1 honor. Maybe you have to do that segment as well, because then if you win more issues, you could potentially still end up with more honor. So I think I inadvertently stumbled upon the strategy there. All right, and then if there were any unclaimed Strategos tokens, that side would get them now. And then we resolve the following issues in order: War and Peace, Games, Citizenship, Colony, Cryptia, Agog. So we didn't have War and Peace, but we did have Games. So the faction that won that issue would gain 3 honor. So it wasn't won by anyone. So now I guess I kind of have to figure out who won what issue. They're removed because they're not won by either faction. So all we have is Oracle, League, and Diplomacy. And all of those go into the theater step. So we can safely ignore that. And we can call this one a draw. So I hope you enjoyed this somewhat convoluted look at the political card system in Pericles. And I hope that you enjoy or got something out of this video diary series. I am definitely looking to learning more about the system and playing it through. And that's a good place to end it here for now. We'll check back in with you soon. So thanks for watching. This is Mike with Play More Games, and happy gaming.